I don't quite remember your name, but I appreciate the tap 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 tapping. Um, Hi guys, what's up? Happy Friday. Aloha Friday is what they call it. Um, I don't know who they are, but people that call it Aloha Friday, it's like Aloha every day over here in Hawaii, guys. What's up from Hawaii? It's 9 a.m. and we are just getting started with this live. Rebecca is a projector, and it is a happy Friday. Yes. Projectors, they're all my favorite type. I want to say that. Sometimes people get on this thing of like, what's the best type, or like, what's the best job for this type? And to be totally honest, it's like, with human design, is like you can kind of have any job or do anything that you want. Oh, speaking of doing anything that we want, I see Life Force Alchemy has joined. Hello, my lord. If you want to go live, let me know because we just started here, so we haven't really found a heading yet. Thank you for the follow, OG. Appreciate you. Looking forward to having you along with the journey. Welcoming to the present moment. Yes, if me and someone else got the same birthday and year, would our charts be the same? Depending on the time, like if your times are close enough together, they could totally be. They could totally have the same chart. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have the same life or the same personality. Um, the beautiful thing about human design is that our conditioning is as much a part of us as our design is. And this is something that, in classical human design or in new age spirituality, like they're always trying to like heal yourself of something, like, oh, heal yourself of your undefined spleen, heal yourself of your suppressed throat. And it's not so much about healing yourself with human design, it's more so about seeing yourself and then loving yourself. Okay. Seeing yourself and loving yourself does more for you than healing does. Because when you see yourself truly, that not only like creates a lot of the quote unquote healing mechanisms, it puts them into place. Because it's not like if you get cut, it's not like you have to heal it, otherwise it won't scab. Like it will scab, right? It will heal itself as long as you don't mess it up. And that's where the awareness comes in. And that's also where the compassion comes in. So true take about new age, didn't even realize they hella focused on healing. Yeah, and it's it's a stage in people's life, um very much so a western style stage of like, I'm working on healing this thing, and it's like, oh, how old are you? 32? Okay. It's like, are you gonna work on that forever? Like what are you like actually working on? Right? Because for me, for instance, like skills, very important to me. um Land development, very important to me. Those are the things that I'm working on. Me working on those things helps me with my trauma, right? And it's something that and then also me becoming aware and more accepting of my quote unquote trauma, that becomes helpful for the trauma, right? Healing the trauma oftentimes leads to bypassing or this sort of like actual weird suppression of it. Because yes, integration is huge, and you're doing two things. You're integrating new information, but then you're also dissolving parts of yourself, parts of your behaviors and your ways of being that are not necessarily inherent or correct for you. And that's where human design comes into play. Basically, what you're looking at with the body graph is these colored in centers, and then the ones that are connected by channels. These are the centers where it's like you're gonna want to like look at your emotions, at your voice, at your mind, and the inspiration you feel. Those are the things that are gonna be yours. Those are gonna be resourced from inside you. All the white areas, these are areas where you're going to be resourcing information from the external world. So for instance, my little daughter here, she is going to look externally for love and direction. She's going to look externally for achievements, and she's going to look externally for sexual creative energy. And it doesn't mean that she doesn't have her own or that you don't have your own. It just means that the way that you're going to experience direction, health and wellness, stress is going to appear as though it's coming from the external world. So now this is super helpful because a person like this with this body graph, I would tell them the number one most important thing that you need to be doing is processing your emotions, journaling, and getting time alone. That's the main thing that this person needs to be doing. Now, if I were to pull up a body graph that was different, let's go ahead and pull up something a little different. Do 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 do. This person, her mom, um, they have the spleen to root channel going on. For this person, it's not so much about their emotional health, it's more so about their physical health, their physical well-being, their physical sense of safety. And it's not that emotions are not important. Again, it's just given the choice between taking care of my health and working with my emotions. This person takes care of their health. The person with the with the defined solar plexus take care of your emotions. This is your own understanding. So you have this. I see it's in your name. Yeah, so this channel is really beautiful. And I've learned to love it and accept it sometimes. Almost I feel like I love and accept it more than my partner loves and accept it. Because it is a channel that I have seen create a lot of inner turmoil and a lot of stress in the individuals who have it, because it's like there's this kind of, man, why are people so dumb? Why do people not get it? And you let me know if that's relevant for you, um, because I see it in my partner all the time. And if it weren't for human design, I would look at her and be like, "You're giving away your peace." I would have all these things to say about it. When in actuality, it's like that's just who she is. And the more that I've learned to accept it, she's learned to accept it a lot more as well. That has just lessened the overall torque or turmoil of the entire channel. And now it's one where I'm typically asking her, you know, about some things. Maybe I'm trying to like instigate gossip or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, I don't really want to talk about that right now. I have like a lot of judgments around that. And I'm just not really in a place to talk about it." And so really, as a projector, and it's not necessarily like, you know, um, only projectors can have this channel, but this is a projected channel, meaning that unless somebody asks for your judgments, if you have this, again, number one, you're not going to be able to escape your own judgments of other people, and you're also going to feel judged by other people, even if they maybe are not judging you. But this awareness and this awareness and pressure around judgment, again, it's a natural part of the experience. And if you have people around you that are going to invite in your judgments, that is like my partner found me, and I do that. I think people don't do anything to help their own condition and problems. Right, exactly. And it's like you can see that a lot clearer sometimes than they can themselves, especially if you have open centers like um, the open head or the open ajna, or these two centers open. So I'm just burning a coal. We're gonna burn some frankincense today, guys. I do have a Palo Santo, but I've been really into the frankincense lately. Got some tree blood, tree blood up in here. How are we? Are guys? Are we seriously at 6,000? Oh my gosh, you guys absolutely rock. I want to say thank you to anyone that has been tapping, and also thank you to anyone who's willing to tap. Um, the more you guys tap, the higher we rank. The higher we rank, the more people are going to see this live. The more people see this live, the more people are going to learn that, hey, you don't have to fix yourself. You just have to learn how to see yourself so that you can love yourself, and that you're incredibly lovable. You just don't realize it yet. Gotta let that coal heat up a little bit. And you all are lords. Absolutely. Wait, so open centers are more broad. I'm just making sure I understand properly. So undefined centers, the white centers, they're like microphones, right? Like you're listening to the external world. These defined centers, these are like speakers. This is where you're putting your energy out into the world. And so if you're new to this, by the way, um, please go to my website, generate your body graph. Once you generate your body graph, I have two options for reports. The cheaper one will analyze your body graph. The not cheaper one will analyze your body graph, give you an introduction to human design, and give you a list of techniques to practice to help you embody all this information. Because both reports are going to give you a staggering amount of information on these numbers, on these centers, on these channels, on these gates. It's a staggering amount. The Reiki chart, Felicity says it's worth it. It definitely is. I put a lot of energy into getting these charts the way that I want them, and they're dang near perfect in my opinion. And I'm always open to improving. So if you do have any feedback or you want to see some things in there, feel free to let me know. Regarding the colors, like this is brown, that's brown. The center colors don't necessarily mean much. These colors right here, if it's red, it's over here in your design, which your design is going to be more of like your unconscious self, and then the black is going to be your personality, which is more of your actual your how you say, not actual self, your personality, your mind, your conscious self, the part of you that you identify with. Like you're more likely to recognize the stuff in black on your chart as opposed to the stuff in red, which is more unconscious. And now we got some, and now we got some resin going. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and if you got the cheaper one, but you want like the information from the Reiki report, one thing I recommend that you could do is you could buy the report, the Reiki report for somebody else, somebody you care about. You'll have information about their body graph, number one, but the two sections that follow, the intro to human design and the techniques, you'll be able to have access to those things, and those are the same across the reports. It's only the body graph information that's going to be unique. Thank you for teaching and informing. I love sitting and learning more. Absolutely. I mean, my whole goal is like people that are tuning in right now, brand new people that are tuning in right now. In a year and a half, I want you to be able to look back at your life and be like, oh wow, stumbling upon that life completely changed my life. I got into human design. I started taking care of my emotions or my spleen, or I started taking care of, my will center. I started actively engaging with my body as a vehicle, and as the caretaker of that vehicle, as well as the mind. Like one of the analogies that we use in human design that's really incredibly helpful is this analogy around like a limo driver, right? So it's like your design side, your unconscious self, that's your physical body, that's the limo, right? The personality, your conscious self, this is the passenger in the limo, and we are the drivers. Okay, we are the ones that have to take care of the vehicle, and we have to take care of the passenger. But the mind and the vehicle don't always want the same things. Sometimes the mind is looking out at other vehicles and saying, man, I wish our limo was faster, or I wish our limo had a pool. And that's what the mind does. The conscious self is very good at taking information from the external world and internalizing it. While the body is supposed to take internal information and externalize it. So I found human design a few years ago, and it has completely changed the way I view myself and others. Yes, wonderful, exactly. I'm not reading charts for people right now. We're just riffing on human design. We might get there though. We might get to the point where we start doing live readings, which I'll probably start charging for. I just want to make sure it doesn't interrupt the flow state. So I would probably need some help, which I'm also is like primary thing here is like building community, seeing some of my people again. Felicity, Julia, Jenny, all of you that are helping me. I love you so much and I appreciate you. So this is actually a projector. So we can talk about projectors real quick. Classic signs of a projector. Number one is there's no sacral, right? There's no defined sacrals. Projectors, manifestors, and reflectors are the 30% of the world that are non-sacral beings. So if you know a projector, a manifestor, or a reflector, and you have a defined sacral, but you know one of these people, be mindful about the energy that you're outputting, because they're going to echo and absorb it unconsciously. It's not something that we get to choose. It's like if you're wet and you hug me, I will be wet. Okay. As a reflector, do you recognize the black in your chart? So because my chart is like, I don't have any definition. And because as a reflector, part of the point of being a reflector, Andrew's definitely got sacred energy. He's got sacred for days for sure. Um, truly life force energy. Um, one thing about the reflector is that my body graph is always changing depending on who I'm with, depending on the transit, and so I've been able to experience nearly every center being defined in connection with other centers, and so for me, it's so much about being accepting of the entirety of the experience as opposed to accepting one thing. Like when you have a channel like this person's journey is to it's a journey with health, and it's a journey with stress and the interplay between them inside their own body. Now, externally, anything can play out, right? but internally for them and their manifestation of their signature is about this channel of judgment, finding an environment that supports this channel of judgment. And so far she's doing great. I mean, she's my partner, so I'm a little biased, but she has people that ask her things. She isn't how you say inundated with like social media because that makes her sick. Um, she's just like following her strategy truly. She doesn't do things unless she's invited to do them. It's kind of brilliant, and she always listens to her intuition. With give or take a handful of times when um, she's learning her root is expanding or her spleen is expanding. um, so what do you have to say about generators? Well, first of all, no one would be here without the generators. Generators are the people, the energy that built the world is generators. The energy that inspires us to have children and keep the species going is the generators. And this is the thing that signifies a generator. So let me actually get a better chart up here, because that is not the chart of a generator. The one we're looking at right now, that is the chart of a generator. This center right here, the sacral, the red square in the middle, this is the generator. Defined centers here are like speakers, is where you're putting out your energy in the world. For generators, you're here to manifest your sacral energy. You're here to get a ooh, uh-huh, build it, step back, be like, and then something else comes along and you're like, ooh, uh-huh, go to that. So it's very much so about not necessarily instant gratification, but the instantaneous use awareness of sacral energy. Like if you see something you like and you go, ooh, go get it. If you see something you don't like and you're like, don't do it. Or if someone asks you something and you're like, don't like make up a lie and tell them that you're down when you're like, follow that. So manifesting generators and generators, you have defined sacrals. Listen to that. If your sacral tells you to like, everyone's going left and your sacral is like, go right. Okay. Do it. Just do it. And if for anything, do it to like prove me wrong and see what happens. But the reality is it's not about me. Human design doesn't work better for me if you start believing in it. Which, by the way, if you want to start working with your human design, I have reports on my website. Super affordable. Just generate your body graph, and then you'll be able to buy a report. One is $20, and the other is $35. Both of them are going to analyze your chart, but the $35 one is going to give you an introduction to human design and techniques. Now, some people are charging like $50 for like a shitty little, hey, here's your strategy and authority. This is not that. This is a full decode of all of the information that you could want about your body graph is in these reports. And I did it because there were a bunch of dum-dums putting human design out there and I didn't like the way they were doing it because I thought they were overcharging. So I came along to like mess them up. No, it's not really about them. It's more so about me wanting the world to have this information. Dude, some people are charging 50 for them and it reads off the site and it will not give you the details. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And for those people that are doing that, I'm sure on some level like that's helping somebody, but not you guys cuz you'll look at that and you'll be like, "But Marco does so much more and also has better hair and actually cares about people. That's why he's not charging so much for his reports." Um, so anyway, I'm interested in who designed this, like who came up with. So the guy that channeled this, his name is Ra Uruhu. This happened in the 80s. So this is like a newer thing that we're being introduced to. However, astrology is old. The numbers here, these all come from the I Ching, which is old. The channels, this comes from the Kabbalah, which is old. The centers, chakras, old stuff. So this is old information that has been put into, if you could say, like, for instance, imagine if you took all of the ancient texts and you had them summarized or how you say converged into a single text. This is what it would be, right? This is what it would be. And it's just because the visualization of it is new. Again, the information is very, very old. um, and what's also true about it is this is not, none of this is like factual. Okay. This is all theory. And the beauty about having a theory, like in for instance, like religion, they consider their sacred texts to be facts. At the source level, they say these things actually happened. What we're saying with human design is say, hey, this is a theory about how you are. Find out for yourself. And this is why I love human design, because it's so different. It's not like astrology where it's like, oh, you were born under these stars and blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey, look, this is what your body graph says. Experiment living with this way and see if life doesn't get better. So, Sophia, you're a generator, right? Basically what your body graph on the surface is saying. Your body graph on the surface is saying, if you live life with more consideration of your sacral, you will be more satisfied and you will have people around you that actually satisfy you instead of frustrate you. You will have more energy, you will be able to sleep better if you trust your gut to to guide you. Human design is totally a fuck around and find out system. What's really funny is that when you fuck around, you find out. Like I've been studying human design for a decade now, guys, and the people that I've told about human design, their lives get better. The people that I've told human design to, and they're like, nah, not really for me. They are literally the exact fucking same. These are good friends of mine. The people that I showed human design to, their lives go up. People that, and this is again my observations. These are my observations, and so if you want to find out your frequency, go to the website. Um, okay, my gut's always growling around certain people, pictures, thoughts, or feelings. Yes, Sophia, listen to that. Pay attention. Think about it like sex and food. Okay, when you're like feeling pleasure, or when you have something in front of you that you want to eat, there's the and when it's not, it's uh-uh. That's life for you. Now, it's one thing that's important to note is that society has a lot of things to say about like satisfying yourself, and it's all bullshit, honestly. That's something I guess is worth a try, but I don't have a clue. I just know my birth date. So if you know your birth date, you just need to know your birthday and your birth time. This app as well is a very good resource for anyone that wants to learn human design. It's called Neutrino Design. This app is also, you can find the link for it on my website, and you'll also get a 25% discount if you sign up through the link on my website. And it's the same app. It's the whole app, right? Now, this thing has a birth time rectifier. So if you don't know your birth time, you can just plug in your birthday, put any birth time. Noon is always a good option. And then you'll be able to take kind of like a little bit of a quiz and be able to kind of like see what some of the windows would be. So HD came to me at a place called the Miracle Springs Ranch in Utopia, Texas, in a cosmic situation on 52521. Interesting. Very cool. Totally. So let's see. So can I explain more about generators? Yeah. So part of what makes a generator so powerful is what's called their aura. And all of us human beings have aura. You guys have probably seen videos here on TikTok of people talking about aura, and it's just like it's cool factor. You know, it's like when you miss the handshake, it's like -11 aura, or like when you hit a really good high five, it's like +20 aura. It's like, yeah, cool. So it was funny about that is that's kind of like human design. Like, so for a generator, your aura increases when you use your strategy. Every human design type has a strategy, and the strategy is a way to make sure that your aura is being utilized correctly. And the thing about generators is they have what's called an enveloping aura. Okay. Things are just coming towards you. It's like a vortex. And this is the opposite of a manifester. A manifester has a repelling aura, they're pushing things away. So the strategies are different, right? The generator that has a defined sacral and has a defined way of sifting through things. Come closer. Get away. The manifester strategy is different. Okay. It's not use your sacral to figure things out. It's inform people, right? And you're going to have some type of authority, emotional authority, splenic authority, ego authority. Right? You're going to have some type of authority that's not the sacral, right? And so with a manifester, what you're looking to do is inform people, because your blocked off aura will literally push everything away, and your job is to initiate and inform and how you say initialize the things that you are here to do and that you see need to be done. So this is so interesting and resonates. It's cool that it resonates, and it's like human design. It doesn't matter if it resonates. Again, this is what I've seen. I see people in my life who I know their design, and they don't behave like it. And their life, they're doing the same freaking thing over and over and over and over. Um, Pull up the chart of the emperor. Oh my god. Can you find out his birthday? I'll totally pull it up. I don't know if the charts go back, if they're even able to calculate like a pre-BC chart, my lord. Bella IDK, I think that was a typo on your part, but it's okay. Yeah, much love to you guys. Thank you, by the way, for 13,000 likes already. We're only like half an hour in. This is amazing, guys. You guys are crushing it. I'm new to HD. Can you tell me a little more about having split definition? I'm a 1-3 projector. I have defined throat, G, spleen, and root. Thank you. So with split definition people, like you're gonna want to have teams of people. And what you're also going to want to do is have an app like Neutrino Design where you can track how people hook you up. So it's like, for instance, you may have a friend who activates your solar plexus. When you're with that friend, like life is more juicy, right? You might have a friend that activates your ajna. When you're with that friend, maybe conversations are more stimulating, but it depends on what channels. And the cool thing about it is not to necessarily like base your relationships off of it, but again, fuck around, find out. See if your relationships are actually reflecting the body graph, and then consider, is this a satisfying relationship, or for your case, um, and being a projector, does this feel like a successful relationship or does it not feel a successful relationship? A lot of the times, your partner, your romantic partner, will be the one who has, like this person, they might have a partner that has the heart and the solar plexus, which would be super rare. But anyway, Brian, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you, brother. But anyway, a lot of the times you will find people are attracted to the thing that they don't have, which is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just something to be aware of. The role that generators play in relationships typically is to satisfy themselves so that way the other person is not like too much thinking about them. This is the way I see it. The best way for a generator to be in relationships is to primarily be aware of their own satisfaction and the sometimes blurry line of their partner's satisfaction, right? Because you both might be generators and you might know this food satisfies me but it doesn't satisfy this person. So having awareness of that, I'm going to satisfy myself so that way I'm not asking my partner to go get food with me that they don't like, right? So it's really about knowing yourself, so that way you can be responsible with the choices that you make and the invitations that you put out to people. What does it mean if all centers are defined? So you're probably a generator, or more likely a manifesting generator. Like this chart is almost fully defined. I have a really dear friend. His name is Shaolin Luke. If you guys want to follow him, he doesn't really post. Part of being fully defined means that you have the defined solar plexus right there, meaning that you're emotionally defined, meaning that your emotions might just like spike and just like hit out of nowhere. So yes, it does feel successful. He often offers skillsies that I lack or need help developing. Mana. So you got a great relationship there then. You know, that's one thing about human design is like you actually have a metric to measure yourself by, as opposed to like, well, this is what my mom was like, or this is what my dad was like, because we all have different designs. And the only thing you should be measuring yourself by truly is how you yourself contrasted with yourself yesterday, yourself contrasted with any number of years ago, and yourself and your body graph. These are the only metrics I have for my own success. I don't look at other dads and say, "Oh, that dad spends, makes more money, or that dad has a bigger house." I don't do that. And I don't do that because I've trained myself not to do that. I was trained to do that. And so I've trained myself not to do that. What about an undefined solar plexus? So people with the undefined solar plexus, right? Those people are typically we are going to, and I say we because I have an undefined solar plexus. We are going to be susceptible to the emotional waves of others. Or our own emotional waves will typically be because of others, and we will have to sift through this sort of um, projecting or blaming energy. For me, whenever I'm in an emotional wave, I'm usually pissed off at somebody. It's usually somebody that did something that made me pissed off. Now, most of the time, I will move through like some time around like, fuck this person sucks, like they just need to do this and they need to, if only they would pull their head out of their ass, I go there. Then I get to my actual emotional wave, right? Then I get to the part where I'm like, well, why am I still friends with this person? What do I feel like I need from this person? How did I show up in that situation? And so once I ride that initial like blip out, then I actually get to work on my own emotions, because having an undefined solar plexus, which this is a defined solar plexus, just for clarity, colored in centers are defined, undefined centers are white. Having an undefined solar plexus doesn't mean you don't have emotions. Same as having an undefined sacral. It doesn't mean you don't have emotions. Or it doesn't mean you don't have a sacral. It means your sacral responses are very rarely going to be original. Your emotions are very rarely going to be original and resourced from inside you. Usually it's going to come from some external thing. That's what the white means. White means it's going to absorb the color of something. These colored in centers mean it already has something there. Um, should generators centralize on their own feelings in a relationship? 100%. I would rather be with a super selfish generator than a super selfless generator, because the super selfish generator I can trust. The super selfless generator, unfortunately, is going to be very like people pleasing and super frustrated all the time and super annoying. Um, I'm having a hard time finding my voice. Even when I speak, my voice feels shaky. So one thing for that, this is kind of aside from human design, but there is a bridge that I am building for you guys, hopefully to be able to walk over in the next year or so. But if you have blockages in your throats, one of the things that you may want to try to do is just a simple exercise. Keep your eyes going forward. You're just going to turn your head to the left as far as you can, and make sure your shoulder doesn't come forward. So keep your shoulders back, turn your head to the far as left as you can, keep your eyes focused forward. And then when you're here, swallow and then turn the other way. Exhale, inhale, eyes remain focused on the center, swallow, exhale, back to the center. So this exercise, this is like a neck widening exercise. Look at my neck. You know what's right here? The vagus nerve, bunch of like really important veins and arteries. Blockages in the throat are not always just energetic. Okay. Blockages in the throat are also physical. So if you widen your throat and you learn how to widen your throat, some of those blockages will dissolve. Now, I have exercises if you want to follow along with those. It's called the archive. Just go to the link in my bio, click on the archive. It's an $11 a month subscription to a community, and there's courses in the community that if you're a part of the community, you can access the courses for free. But it will teach you exercises on how to do things like that, to basically make your senses stronger so that you can dissolve any blockages that you may have in your face, in your eyes, in hearing things, etc. Very advanced stuff, in my opinion. Way more advanced than a lot of the plant medicines that people are doing straight up. Because plant medicines like shows you the way, but then you have to integrate things and you have to dissolve things. Um, Whereas exercises like this, you just go straight to the integration. You just go straight to like seeing yourself and seeing where you're at. Because part of having a blocked throat, so many people are like, I don't want to work on my blocked throat because that means I have to accept that I have a blocked throat. And I get it, but it's like at some point you have to accept that you have a blocked throat and that you need to work on it. Thank you guys for all the follows. I just got a bunch of follows. You guys really like that one, huh? So they are somatic exercises, and yeah, like I said, they are in the link in my bio called the archive. You can get access to all of that stuff. I also have biomechanics and soft tissue in there. So the archive is basically like my catch-all. All of my like coursework and all of my stuff that like you want to learn, it's in the archive. It's also a place where I have collaborations with some of my partners. Wise woman of the heart light bulb. Okay, sorry, I'm at work and maybe typed fast. There it is. Yeah, it's a cool name. I just took your and tested and felt unnatural, so I'm going to look more into this. Right. Yeah. So, and that's part of it. Sophia, what is are you projector? Is that right? I forget. So sometimes, and whether you're a projector or a generator, like sometimes when you do the sacred calibrations, I think that's what you were talking about. Sometimes it's challenging. Like for me, sometimes I'll say when I actually am like and it's like, what does that mean? Essentially, what it means is that number one, for me, that I have an undefined I have a love and light. That makes sense. I have an undefined sacral, and so when I do sacral responses, I don't always trust my sacral, right? I know that though. When generators do this, ultimately, it's like you want to learn how to get like this clear relationship with your gut because if you have a defined sacral and you're getting these things wrong, right? Well, then that's something to be aware of. Right. Oh, I'm aware that sometimes I get them wrong. So I'm not as in tune with my sacral as I could be as if I do like a rapid fire sacral calibration and I hit them all right. I've successfully evaporated my mind from that part of my sacral. And again, that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to track in real time. What's my gut doing? What's my gut doing? And for everyone wants to be able to do that. The difference between generators and manifesting generators, define sacral, and everyone else is that for the generators and man gens, you want to go with your gut unless you're in an emotional wave. For the projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, you just want to be aware of your gut. And then you want to be aware maybe this gut response is coming from somebody else. Maybe this gut response is coming from my dad. Maybe I feel like my dad would disapprove if I did this. So I'm going, when I actually like, I really want to do that. Right. So again, there's so many nuances to human design. It is quite literally like learning another language. And it's a very worthy language to learn. And to be totally honest, it's not that difficult. Most people are just trying to do too much, right? Most people want the end game stuff, um, but they don't want to work for it. Random, but have you heard anyone having success with the Neutrino app dating feature? Oh my God. Yes. Actually, I met a girl here. Her name is Leah, and she found her current partner through that feature. So it definitely works, or it has worked before. I just had my first reading and discovered my type, etc. What should I do next to go deeper? Um, so depending on who you had your reading with, like if you had a reading with me, you hopefully you would know exactly what to do to go deeper. But it really has to do with like depending on what they told you, like putting that into practice. Like you just have to like put these things into practice and see, because part of it is like you have to just like see over time how this unfolds for you. Do you happen to know about people who shouldn't sleep with another person when recharging? So generally, we sleep better alone. Human beings sleep better alone. Even the people that say like, "Oh, I need them by my side to sleep. I sleep better with them." No, you don't. You're just addicted to them. Okay? Get them out of your bed and sleep alone. That's my thoughts on it. And also my experience. I've been sleeping alone in that bed right over there, which you guys can't see. You can see it on YouTube. Um, I have a wonderful relationship. I love my partner so much. We spend a lot of beautiful time together, but I sleep alone. She sleeps with the baby, and that works for us. Right? I've had relationships where I sleep in the same bed as the other person, and I wake up disgusted with them for no reason at all. I just wake up and I'm like, you fat, ugly, stupid piece of like I'm that. I'm like that, but I love them, but I'm like that. Why? Oh, probably because I'm unintentionally like leaking my energy and they're leaking their energy all over me during sleep. So yeah, sleep is sacred. Don't mess around with sleep. And if you have someone who's like, I need you around to sleep, oh, fucking look out. Like really look out. If someone's like, I need you next to me to sleep, it's like, dude, you do not want to be in that relationship. That is not someone who even has the capacity to see themselves. I get if it's challenging and they're willing, like I really don't want you to sleep, but if it's what's best for you, go ahead. But if you have a person in your life who's like you're not allowed to sleep in your own bed, dump that person. Dump them. You don't need that in your life. You don't need that kind of control. I just realized I haven't slept good because I haven't slept alone. Right. So, and again, it's like, men and women both have a problem with like letting their partners sleep alone because they derive so much value from the stupid action of just sleeping next to each other. It's like you can look at 3,000 couples sleeping next to each other. Tell me which ones love each other the most. You can't. You can't because they're sleeping. Now, let me watch them in interactions. Let me watch how they resolve conflict. Tell me which one loves each other the most. That is different. Quality time together. Let me see 3,000 couples all doing the one thing that they want to do as a couple together. Tell me which one loves each other the most. That makes more sense to me. Two people sleeping next to each other, they could be brother or sister. Doesn't tell you anything. I told my family that I want to have two separate rooms when I get my place, and they look at me crazy in the sense of like you want two separate rooms, like one for you and one for your partner, or like one for you and one for your sibling. Like you can have sleepovers and your own decor. Yeah, totally. Yeah, okay, I see what you're talking about. No, I got you. So yes. And this is one thing that's beautiful about relationships is like if you get the dynamics right, and human design can help you figure out the dynamics, which I also, by the way, for anyone curious, I do relationship readings. And that might be one of my favorite and one of my best things that I'm good at doing is relationship readings, because there are certain things that we can look at in the body graph where I can ask a question and we can get more work done in like 5-10 minutes than you would at like 2 years of couples therapy. And the reason being is because again, everyone has the an idea of what's healthy. And the more certifications you have, oh, you have a better idea of what's healthy. How many of these like therapists are in healthy relationships? If you're taking relationship advice from someone, shouldn't they be in a healthy relationship? This is just my query, things to think about. If you're taking advice from somebody, right? They should have the thing that you want, right? Relationship readings I think are 230, and this is like these are my prices, as low as I could get them, because I genuinely believe that my prices are higher, and I also know who I want to make this stuff available to. I've done the like you know $30,000 for a weekend kind of thing, and that's fun, but I don't necessarily want to deal with those types of people right now. So anyway, my parents never slept in the same room. I can sleep with my siblings and nephews, but not with a man. Interesting. Yeah, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with sleeping in the same bed as somebody, but you will start to feel the impact of it. Any tips for a 6'2" reflector? Live in a, depending on how old you are. Um, I like small spaces as a reflector. It also makes it really easy to hermit because not a lot of people can fit in here. Um, Yeah, but depending on, you're 55. Okay. Yeah, so like stay on the roof, right? Is there might be something in you that's like return to the world, but stay on the roof and master your lunar cycle. Like develop the weirdest, craziest rituals for yourself. Because the thing about a reflector is that like we are essentially what I'm aware of as a reflector is like we are living on the fringes of reality. Like we are living with so much information and stimulus, it's insane. So, with that being said, one of the things that you can do as a reflector is train your eyes, do sensory exercises, which all of that is in my the link in my bio in the archive. Do sensory exercises. Make sure your walking, running, and throwing is on point. Simply because it's like as a reflector, there's this kind of like feeling like an alien. Like we definitely have this sort of energy to us that we look at other people and we're like, I can never do that, or we're doing some maybe we're doing things and we're like, why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this, but we're doing it. And I'm sure a lot of people have that as well. But the depth of that feeling for a reflector, you know there's also this like again healthy thing: know who you are. I don't know who I am. I see myself very clearly, but I don't claim seeing myself is to be the same as knowing who I am. I've let go of knowing, like trying to figure out and pin down who I am, because the very nature of my body graph says there's no pins in this. There's no points of definition. And that's something that you can either embrace or you can spend your entire life trying to fight it. I've been embracing it for the past couple years and it's lit. It's awesome. There's very few people that really understand it, but it's freaking awesome. I'd rather be alone than be projected on by all the people that I used to be projected upon. So yeah, super, super big invitation to just like embrace the hermitude, embrace the uniqueness. Um, and yeah, it's a very beautiful life. Like let life surprise you in a way is the idea, and also be the surprise. Like I did this one thing months ago, but it stuck with me because I my friends gave me some money to go pick up food. I was helping them with the project, so they were buying me lunch. I ordered the food. I go in there and I talk to the waitress and I give her the big bill. She takes the big bill, comes back with change. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how much am I going to tip her? And I was like, why don't you just surprise her and let her pick her own tip? And there was like probably like a 50% tip in there. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, how much of this do you want? And she goes, oh, no, no, I don't need any of it. And I was like, no, no, like seriously, like how much do you think you deserve of the change that's left over? I'll literally give you the entire thing if you just say it. And she couldn't say it. And what hopefully that did for her was she was able to realize, like, wow, I can't even ask for what I think I'm worth even when someone is asking me, right? And so that is part of surprising someone or surprising myself, because I didn't know what kind of interaction I was going to get. She might have been like, "Yeah, give me the whole thing," or like, "Just give me $1." Right? And where I ended up giving her half of the available change, which she was like blown away by that. But again, it's just one of these like weird little reflector things I'll do is I will offer people reflections in a way um that is surprising to both of us. So I would have said what I wanted. Yes. And I hope that everyone is that way. If someone asks you like how much of this tip do you want, you're gonna say, dude, I'm worth $1,000. I'm worth $100,000 right now. This job right here is just a temporary space for me. Anyway. So that's how I felt a bit when you said generators did something with auras and vortexes. Right? Yes, my lord. The battle barge awaits. Yeah. So the teacher once asked to grade ourselves. It was hard, right? And it is hard, and that's what's cool about human design, because it's kind of like a grading rubric, right? Like if you have this body graph and you're grading yourself, the grades you would give yourself would be primarily based off of how well did you listen to your emotions and how well did you follow your strategy. That's internal authority and strategy. That's it. I'm not gonna like be like, what did you achieve? Right? Because if you do that, what did you achieve? You're just gonna look at everybody else's achievements and feel super inadequate, even if you did achieve something. So this is, and if anyone can relate, you probably have an undefined heart. Because this is what I would do. And they would see, like, oh, so and so did this. What did you do? I'd be like, well, I had fun. And they'd be like, yeah, but what did you create? And I'm like, I didn't create that. I didn't create that. I don't know. I just had fun. And like that was a bad, like, oh no, you're supposed to create something. It's like, again, school and the education system and pharmaceutical and physical fitness, they all use this one size like fits all. Even though they say they're doing different, they want it to be easy, right? They want it to be easy. I want it to work. Okay. So anyway, typing on TikTok live is weird because the time you see it, the moment's gone. Right. Yeah, I know it's kind of tricky. Which TikToks have been super fun. I really enjoy the live, just the environment and how I can feel comfortable, kind of just like talking to strangers, inviting strangers. Ultimately, what I'm doing with this live is inviting you guys kind of like into my space so that we can converse like I would with anybody. And one thing that I'm really proud of, and I'm really excited about this reflection, is a lot of my reviews on Google, they're saying Marco is exactly the same live as he is on his social medias. It's so refreshing. And again, it's like I can see myself really well. There's times when I can't, and I usually will admit when I can't. But for the most part, I see myself really well, and I love everything that I'm seeing. I don't like everything that I'm seeing, but I love it all. I do my best to accept it all. So if someone asks you how I would rate yourself, so as a reflector, one of the things that I would rate myself on is how much reflection I'm doing. And so for me, that's something that involves around like meditation daily, which is what I do, movement daily, which is what I do, spending time with my daughter daily, which is what I do. Ultimately, though, these like larger decisions that I make, I look at how long I actually gave myself to like move through it. So the reflector strategy is wait 28 days before making a big decision, before buying a car, before buying a guitar. For me, anything over $1,000, I'm gonna wait 28 days before making that decision. And it has saved me so much time, so much money. Um, Business invitations, opportunities to work with people. I wait 28 days. Usually the people are like, "Oh, we can't wait 28 days." And I say, "Fine. You're not going to know how to utilize my skills anyway. Thanks for making the decision for me." The people that do wait 28 days, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Piper. Or you saying Piper says happy birthday? It's not my birthday today, but happy birthday if you want me to say happy birthday. It's easy to say. Um, yeah, so my metrics are very much so like how how patient am I being, right? How many people around me are getting reflections from me and doing things with it, right? How many people around me are themselves? This is one of the biggest metrics that I measure is like how often am I excited and lit up and stoked because one of my friends is being themselves, is following their gut or following their emotional authority or following their splenic authority. The significance of 28 days is quite simply a lunar cycle. 28 days for the moon to go through all 64 of these gates over here. Because for someone like me, and I can show you guys my chart real quick, for someone like me who has all undefined centers, this is my body graph here. Okay, that's all of my centers are undefined. Whenever the moon during the current transit goes into gate 24, my head and ajna are defined. When it goes into gate 63, my head and ajna are defined. When the moon goes into 23, my throat and my ajna are defined. When it goes into gate 12, my throat and my solar plexus are defined. So the lunar cycle for me is my inner authority. It's like, for instance, when a generator has sacral authority, right? That means that they are manifesting their sacral into the world as an external authority. They're manifesting their internal authority through their strategy, through responding into the external world, and then they live in a reality that is flavored by their internal authority. For a reflector to do that, it takes 28 days. It takes 28 days for me to decide, is this actually an authority I want to live in, or is this somebody else's authority or some transient energy that's moving through me? Wow, wow, yes, wow. So the red, all of that stuff is going to be your design. Anywhere in the body graph you see red, it means that that gate is defined by something in your design placements. Your design placements are determined 88 days before your time of birth. Your personality placements are determined at your time of birth. Your design, all of the red is essentially your vehicle, your body, your unconscious self. The black, again, black showing up on the body graph, this is your personality and this is more of your mind. This is the passenger inside the vehicle. You have the red, which is the vehicle, the black, which is the passenger inside the vehicle, and then the ability to view the body graph. That makes us the driver. We are responsible for taking care of the vehicle and taking care of the passenger. Now, a lot of people are either or. They're very highly associated with their body. You can see people that are very hedonistic, people that are driven by appearances, people that are driven by wealth and fame and money and material belongings only. They're prioritizing the vehicle, right? Then there's the people who are prioritizing the mind. These are the intellectuals that never work out. They never move their body. They're the kinds of people that are highly judgmental. They're really freaking good at debating people, but they're also manipulated and twisted inside because they don't have a relationship with their vehicle. The best way to live is through the harmonization of both of these things. Human design gives us two things that strategy and authority, which teach us how to harmonize the vehicle and the passenger as the driver. So that way, the passenger isn't convincing the vehicle or the driver to like drive off road. right? Or the vehicle isn't convincing the passenger and just like tying the passenger up and throwing them in the back seat, neglecting mental health, emotional health, right? So you have to live with both of these sides in tandem at the same time. There is no point in life, maybe death, but there is no point in life where you just are the body or you are just the mind. You are always the body and the mind. So much love. Thank you for the question. That was awesome. Yeah, and each one of these gates, you can't see the numbers in here right now. You can kind of see them over here, but each one of these gates carries information about whatever planetary thing. So it's like moon would be driving force. South node is where you're coming from. North node is where you're going. Earth is what grounds you. Sun is like your vitality and what gives you mana, right? And so I need more red. All I care about is spirituality. Sophia, I recognize that I was the same way. All I cared about was spirituality, and my body didn't necessarily get. I'm actually no. Early on in my spiritual journey, it was literally like I didn't care about my body, and I was fasting way too much, and I was getting way too high, and I was just like I didn't want to be alive. I didn't at all. And then I started hanging out with actual embodied men, and I started fighting again, which I was a martial artist in my earlier years, and then got back into it later. And yeah, life got better because I got punched in the face by someone I love. Any tips for listening to splenic authority? So splenic authority, one of the things that you really want to get in tune with is your lymphatic system and your nervous system, right? In terms of splenic information, it's your immune system that you want to get in tune with. Listening for subtle cues in the body, like ringing in the ears, um, sweaty hands, closing throat, tight throat, head brain fog, any of that kind of stuff can be splenic information that's being given to you by the spleen. Like, for instance, when you get sick, you don't get sick because the virus is making you sick. You get sick because your immune system diverts all of the energy that is normally used for moving around and processing information to fighting the virus, right? That's why you have no energy, is because the energy is now being devoted towards like fighting the pathogen. The spleen is meant to cut things away that are not supposed to be here. It's also meant to scan and discover where there might be potential dangers. It uses fear to do this. So when you are experiencing fear, know that a lot of the times that is your spleen attempting to communicate, hey, there might be some kind of danger here. It also might be a ghost from the past, right? It might be something like, when you were a kid, you were bullied by like a tall kid with orange hair, and then you meet a kid with a man has tall and has orange hair, and you immediately like, oh, there's danger. Okay, so there's a difference. Basically, if the thing happened more than 18 months ago, and you're still having like, oh, like that kind of reaction to it, and you're like actually genuinely afraid, what you need to do is start microdosing yourself with the fear. You need to start exposing yourself to the fear in environments where there's no danger. Like, you think about why people love horror films so much. Like, it's crazy. Why do people love horror films so much? Well, it's because they get to experience the adrenaline rush that you get without actually having to be in danger. Adrenaline rush, no danger. That's why people like horror films. So if you want it with your spleens, right? With your spleen, what you want to do is touch the fear, but make sure there's no danger. So, for instance, in that example I used with the tall redhead, right? If you find yourself with some fear, one of the things that you can say is, "Hey, um, I'm really afraid of people with red hair because I got bullied by a kid with red hair. Um, can we spend some time together? I would like to not be afraid of you." That's confronting the fear, right? And so fear has to be confronted, because ultimately a fear unconfronted is ultimately a stone left unturned, which could unfortunately hold danger. So you have to explore it, or it's worth exploring. So anyway, yeah. Which this is, let's see, are we getting, I think we're getting close, guys. Yeah. I gotta take care of some things today. So we're actually gonna close the live up right now, guys. This has been epic. What are we at? 26,000. We're at 26,000. All right, let's get to 30 and then we'll close it down. Which don't stop tapping because you want me to stay here longer. But anyway, how can HD help with scarcity mindset? Leah. Oh, this is the gal. Leah. I think it's Leah. Someone asked earlier, Leah, about if I know of anyone that has had success with the weekly match thing. And I was like, yeah, I know a girl Leah. She met her boo thing on there. Um, but anyway, the scarcity is such a great question because one of the biggest scarcities that we have as human beings is like I'm not enough, right? I can't afford that is partially a branch of I'm not enough, right? And so hold on, I gotta verify. TikTok thinks I'm a robot. Idiots. Um, the the branch that comes off of I'm not enough, like if you treat the trunk, you treat the branch. And so it's very rarely a scarcity ever about money, right? It's usually always about my perceived value of myself. Because for instance, if my perceived value of myself is, let's say, $100 a day, that's in part like where my level it is my and my threshold is. And until I do something that actually shows me that I'm worth more than that, I'll just stay at that threshold. So one of the areas where human design can help is by pushing us into areas that we might be unfamiliar with and uncomfortable with, but are actually natural for us. Like for instance, having a food critic that is a sacral generator, right? And like heavy splenic definition, like that is somebody who's going to have like a very unique flavor, but they are going to trust that unique flavor. Like if you look at Rick Rubin, he doesn't play instruments, he's not a music producer, he has taste in music, and he gets paid so much money even though he doesn't play any of these instruments. And so looking at your human design, you could discover where your area of genius is, which for this person, oh Marco, um it's wherever they want it to be. No, primarily it's in my openness and in my ability to like almost like legitimately control a space, which is not necessarily something that I'm not going around looking for spaces to control, but like I control this space. If someone is fussing around in the comments and it's like getting distracting for me, I kick them out. I have complete sovereignty, and that's part of my cross of rulership. I have 22, which is the gate of openness, 47, which is the gate of oppression, mental oppression. Then I have 26, which is the will to be the best, and 45, which is the gatherer, which is the last voice on manifestation. And so this is like this is what I do. And so I found that place of rulership for myself here on TikTok. And again, if you want to discover what that is for yourself, I highly recommend looking at your incarnation cross. Now, your incarnation cross will just tell you the destination. This is where it's going to end up. The way you get there is by using your strategy and authority, right? Scarcity is also one of these mindsets where it's like, if you're not physically taking care of your body, you're not drinking enough water, you're not moving your body, unfortunately, your scarcity mindset will be limited by that. So, part of what human design can then also help you do is what things do you actually do to need to be healthy, right? We can look at your environment, we can look at your digestion and get you eating naturally, get you in an environment that feels natural for you. And actually, as well, the archive that I was talking about, which is biomechanics, how to walk, run, and throw, soft tissue, being able to remove uh, scar tissue and adhesions in your body, and then sensory mechanics, increasing your senses, getting the pressure and temperature of your body proper so that you can process information correctly. All of that stuff will help you with scarcity. Again, it's about self value and perceived value. And the part about manifesting your internal authority into the external authority is that the more, or how you say, the more successfully you can manifest your internal authority, the more that value will be reflected back to you. This is why sometimes having friends who are yes men are not good, and other times it's really good, right? It all depends on circumstance and what it is that you're actually looking to do. Which, in terms of asking about scarcity, one of the questions that comes up for me is like, where's the scarcity in your life, or where do you feel scarce in your life? So, anyway, Thank you, Lucille. Appreciate you. I talk about this stuff all the time, right? And so it's really just it's exciting for me that so many people are stoked on listening. And for everyone that's been in the live, thank you for sticking around. If you've been tapping the screen, I think we're at 33. Yep, 33,000 likes, which is incredible. I never really expected when starting to do these lives that we would be up at these levels in a, like a regular casual kind of day, but here we are. And so thank you guys so much. You are a part of this mission. Understand, like, you even just listening, not even tapping the screen, not sending yes, just listening, you're a part of this movement where we are like not normalizing things anymore, we're naturalizing things, right? We're not defending nature, we are nature defending itself. We have to understand that we are a part of this world, and those simple things, the biomechanics, all the stuff in the archive, all of the stuff that human design is sharing with us, it's what it's saying is slow the fuck down and pay attention to what's actually going on, and let go of what you think is going to happen. Pay attention to what's going on. That's exactly what human design is. And that's what where human design is here to help us surrender to the form, to the physical body. So this is the message that I want to be competing. I actually want to compete with the NPCs and the dumb battle brother guys that are like, oh yeah, like my team's about to smash your team. Like my ultimate goal would be to like build this team up to just like stack up, and then we just go challenge like the dudes that are getting like a million likes, and we just did demolish them. And I want to demolish these guys because it's part of the collapse of infrastructure, that the perceived values of the world, which are like, those kind of guys, and the NPC, like the entertainment value, needs to shift away from those kinds of people and go towards something. And it is not necessarily just me, like any other people that are willing to like be here on the front lines. Cody the sound healer, if you guys don't know Cody, please follow him. Zach the Reiki guy, these are two bros. Life Force Energy, these are guys that are on the same team. We're looking to usurp the current entertainment complex with more entertaining, more valuable, and more educational content. So you guys are a part of that, and I could not be more stoked and honored because we are legitimately um we are legitimately going to be like crushing this. Someone made a comment, Jesus is your God, spirituality is demonic. Luke, I love you, brother. God bless you. No, spirituality is not demonic. Some people's spiritual practices are unconsciously demonic. Um, but yeah, that's I'm not for the demonic stuff, my friend. Um, and also demons are very misunderstood. They're not what the Bible teaches. And you would know that if you actually had experiences with demons and with God. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. With that being said, much love to you guys. I'm gonna be here on next Monday. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Set your calendars, 9 a.m. Hawaii time. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 p.m. Pacific time. I think 3 p.m. Eastern time. 9 a.m. Hawaii time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, pretty much all through October, which aside from like the 16th to the 20th, I'm going on vacation. So again, much love, Thomas. Absolutely a pleasure to share with you guys. Hello, JNet. Have a great weekend as well. Tina, much love. Thank you guys, all of you, for being here. 9 p.m. Swedish time. Julia. The Swedes, I love it. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Real quick, anyone that needs a body graph or wants to book a session or get anything, archive, the app, reports, body graph, sessions, all of that is via the link in my bio, or you can go to reikimarco.com. It's all the same thing to me. See you guys Monday. Love you. Bye.